Tucker Carlson, born 1969, San Francisco, California, American conservative pundit and popular cable television talk show host, recognized for his success in helping to bring far-right viewpoints and vocabulary into the mainstream of American politics. Carlson was known for his extreme positions on a range of political and social issues, for his embrace of white nationalism, white supremacy, for his support of authoritarian leaders of other countries, and for his regular reliance on arguably false or misleading claims, including baseless conspiracy theories. Through his television appearances and his writings, he exerted an unusual influence on Republican President Donald Trump, who was a regular viewer of Carlson's show Tucker Carlson Tonight, which was broadcast on the Fox News Channel from 2016 to 2023. Early life and education. Tucker Carlson was the eldest of two children born to Richard Warner Carlson, a media executive, and Lisa McNair Lombardi Carlson, an artist. When Tucker was 6 years old, his mother left the family. She ultimately settled in France, where she died in 2011. Tucker and his brother, Buckley, never saw her again. After their parents divorced, the boys moved with their father to La Jolla, California, where both boys attended primary school. When Tucker was 10 years old, his father married Patricia Swanson, whose family had owned the Swanson Food Company. Tucker and Buckley received their secondary education at St. George's School, a private boarding school in Rhode Island. It was there that Tucker met his future wife, Susan Andrews, a fellow student and the daughter of the school's headmaster. Tucker applied for admission to several prestigious universities but was turned down. With the help of his future father-in-law, he was eventually accepted by Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut. Career in journalism and television. Upon his graduation from Trinity College in 1991, Carlson sought to join the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, but was rejected. On the advice of his father, himself a former newspaper and television reporter, Carlson turned to journalism, taking a position as a fact-checker for the conservative journal Policy Review and later writing op-eds for the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette in Little Rock, Arkansas. In 1995 he joined the staff of the Weekly Standard, a conservative opinion magazine co-founded in that year by William Crystal. He later wrote numerous columns, opinion pieces, profiles, and other articles for several print and online magazines, journals, and newspapers, including Esquire, The New Republic, Forbes, Slate, New York Magazine, The Atlantic, and The Wall Street Journal. His 2003 Esquire article The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which recounted a trip to Liberia he had taken with Al Sharpton and other activists and intellectuals, was nominated for a National Magazine Award. Carlson first appeared on television in 1995, when he was interviewed by the CBS newscaster Dan Rather on the program 48 Hours, about the controversial trial of O.J. Simpson, see also O.J. Simpson trial. He thereafter appeared regularly as a conservative commentator on various news and political debate programs. In 2000 he became the co-host of a new CNN debate show, The Spin Room, which was soon canceled because of low ratings. In 2001 he was invited to co-host Crossfire, another CNN debate show, which had premiered in 1982, with Paul Begala, a Democratic strategist and political commentator. In a Crossfire interview with Carlson and Begala in October 2004, Jon Stewart, then the host of the politically satirical The Daily Show, declared that both hosts were political hacks who were hurting America by engaging in partisan political theater rather than meaningful debate. 3 months later Crossfire was canceled by CNN's president, who said in an interview that he agreed with Stewart's assessment of the show. Carlson then moved to MSNBC, CNBC, where his next show, Tucker, ran until 2008. In 2010 he and Neil Patel, a Republican political advisor who had been Carlson's roommate at Trinity College, founded The Daily Caller, a conservative news and commentary website. Seeking to increase its viewership among the far right, the site soon descended into extremism and sensationalism, publishing unsupported and frequently vulgar attacks on Democratic leaders, false criticisms of liberal causes, and popular conspiracy theories. The site also became known for its promotion of racist and sexist stereotypes. In 2020 Carlson sold his ownership stake in The Daily Caller to Patel. In 2009, Before the Daily Caller was launched, Carlson was hired as a commentator and guest host by the conservative Fox News channel. His frequent appearances on the network increased his prominence among conservative pundits and eventually led the network to offer him his own show, which was launched in 2016 as Tucker Carlson Tonight. An immediate success in terms of viewership, the show eventually became one of the most popular news programs in the history of cable television. The format of Tucker Carlson Tonight involved one-on-one interviews with guests in which Carlson discussed current events from a far-right perspective, one that many critics, including some conservatives, considered radical and extreme. A major theme of many episodes of the show was Carlson's contention that efforts to protect the civil rights of non-white Americans, to address race-based inequalities, or even to recognize the continued existence of racism in the United States were part of a larger liberal scheme to blame whites for the problems of racial minorities and to give racial minorities unfair advantages over whites. In keeping with that view, Carlson frequently denied the reality or importance of widely reported acts of violence against blacks, including incidents of police brutality, and condemned the popular protests that followed, particularly those led by the Black Lives Matter movement. At one point Carlson warned his white viewers that the protests were not about black lives, and remember that when they come for you. Regarding immigration, Carlson repeated the Republican trope that immigrants from Latin America were depriving U.S. citizens of jobs, burdening the country's social welfare system, and increasing the country's crime rate, but he added to it the white nationalist conspiracy theory that liberal elites were attempting to replace white Americans with non-white immigrants. In the view of his critics, Carlson's expressions of support for the basic tenets of white nationalism and white grievance politics were indicative of his racist attitudes toward non-white people. That assessment was seemingly confirmed in 2019 when several recordings of Carlson uttering racist, as well as sexist and homophobic, slurs on a Tampa-based radio program between 2006 and 2011 were made public by a media watchdog organization. Tucker Carlson Tonight premiered soon after Trump's election to the U.S. presidency in November 2016. Carlson supported many, though not all, of Trump's early positions and policies, such as his ban on immigration from most majority Muslim countries, his plan to build a wall along the border between the United States and Mexico, and his denial of the reality of climate change. Carlson also shared Trump's deference toward, and apparent admiration for, authoritarian leaders of other countries, particularly President Vladimir Putin of Russia and Prime Minister Viktor Orbán of Hungary. In that connection, Carlson defended Trump against accusations that his 2016 campaign had cooperated with Russia's efforts to interfere in the election on Trump's behalf and that Trump had obstructed the U.S. Justice Department's investigation of his campaign's involvement with Russia. See Donald Trump, Russia investigation. Carlson later criticized Trump for the latter's attempt to coerce the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, into announcing an investigation of Trump's political rival Joe Biden and Biden's son Hunter for alleged wrongdoing in connection with a Ukrainian energy company, though he insisted that Trump had not committed an impeachable offense. On this point, Carlson differed with the U.S. House of Representatives, which reacted to Trump's involvement with Ukraine, see Ukraine scandal, by voting in 2019 to impeach Trump on charges of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. In early 2022 Carlson initially downplayed the importance of Russia's military threat to Ukraine, then briefly criticized Russia's invasion of Ukraine once it began, in late February, then promoted a far-right conspiracy theory to the effect that Hunter Biden had funded a laboratory in Ukraine for the creation of biological weapons. In early 2020, at the start of the deadly SARS-CoV-2 pandemic in the United States, see coronavirus, Carlson declared to his viewers that the virus represented a significant danger to public health, and he reportedly succeeded in persuading Trump to take the virus seriously. Soon afterward, however, Carlson began criticizing the public safety measures undertaken to limit the spread of the virus, including business closures, stay-at-home orders, and mask-wearing mandates, and he later questioned the necessity and safety of the vaccines quickly developed by American and European pharmaceutical companies. In so doing, he encouraged his viewers to distrust the scientific experts and public health agencies then leading the country's pandemic response, at one point falsely claiming that Anthony Fauci, the director of the U.S. National Institute of Allergies and Infectious Diseases, had created the virus and was responsible for its spread in the United States. Trump eventually took a similar view of the country's pandemic response. Following his defeat in the presidential election of 2020, Trump and many Republican members of Congress, as well as other Republican officeholders throughout the country, protested that the election had been stolen by Democrats through massive voter fraud, a claim for which there was no serious evidence. Carlson endorsed their accusations, though not always in the same terms or in the same detail. In response to the storming of the U.S. Capitol by a mob of Trump supporters on January 6, 2021, an attack that aimed to prevent Congress from certifying Biden's victory, Carlson advanced another baseless conspiracy theory, this time alleging that the attack was not a genuine insurrection but merely a false flag operation by the FBI. For his role in allegedly inciting a crowd of his supporters to participate in the attack, Trump was impeached again, this time for incitement of insurrection. In 2023, as part of a lawsuit against the Fox News channel alleging that the network had knowingly aired false claims charging Dominion Voting Systems, an election technology company, with rigging the 2020 presidential election to ensure Biden's victory, hundreds of internal communications by network hosts and executives were made public. Among them were texts by Carlson in which he dismissed the stolen election conspiracy theory, expressed his strong dislike of Trump, and strongly criticized the network's upper management. In April, Fox News Channel agreed to settle the lawsuit by paying Dominion $787.5 million. Less than 1 week later, the network announced that Carlson's show had been canceled and that he and the network were parting ways. In addition to his many articles and opinion pieces, Carlson wrote the books Politicians, Partisans, and Parasites, My Adventures in Cable News, 2003, Ship of Fools, How a Selfish Ruling Class is Bringing America to the Brink of Revolution, 2018, and The Long Slide, 30 Years in American Journalism, 2021.